family acting today. We are the family younger, but still we have a message today. We are the family younger, but still we are the family acting today. We are the family younger, but still we have a message today. We are the family younger, but still we are the family acting today. We are the family younger, but still we have a message today.
Amaina gange ninze na Manda Simoni mba mu district ye Kamuli migombo ly'ekidera mba kwero si yana wansega mu muluko gwe Kasiira nkola mu kitongole kya Kamuli yanga positive abavuka balina akawuka kaleta sirimu nga tusobolera okubaawo nga tulina abaagala baife asobola okuzaala abaana waye nga tulina akawuka ka sirimu kuba ekyo kisoboka omuntu alina akawuka okuzaala n'azira akawuka omwana era bazaala omwana yaba mulamu waire naabo abalina akawuka bwana basobola okuzaala omwana yaba mulamu singa baba goberere enkola eyokutangira akawuka yeba asomesa abantu okuva mu madwaliro nti omuntu alina akawuka asobola okuzaala omwana nga mulamu singa aba agobereire amateeka gabasobola bamuwaire n'okubanga omwana we babanga ajja kuzaalibwa asobola okubanga azaalibwa mu idwaliro obutazaalira mu kyalo kiyamba ku bamaama b'abaana abo okutangira okusiiga omwana oyo akawuka kaleta sirimu nairala nga bali kumuzaala mu idwaliro nga basobola bamuwaire obuyambi obumala.
The forum was attended by 20 participants, out of whom 8 were women. After Ato Eyelachew presented the result of the study, the participants have made active and in-depth discussion. Afars do not segregate or outcast patients. They care for him or her until his days. They don't take the patient to hospitals as they believe that the disease is caused by the will of Allah. Though they do not dine, sleep together or share dressings, they keep him or her close to them. This culture makes Afars unique and pioneers in fighting stigma and discrimination. We have strived to access rural residences and give education against harmful traditional practices like female genital cutting and traditional midwifery. We have also tried to fight against marriage of unequals and bigamy. Almost all the residents of the localities are Muslim. They believe that AIDS is caused by Allah, but not people. They say that it's Allah who either saves or kills, so they do not take the patient to hospitals. Though we tried to teach that condom prevents HIV/AIDS and other diseases, the public have found it very difficult to easily accept it. We are still in a confrontation on this issue. Much has been said about HIV/AIDS through the Afar language radio transmission. The radio still says many things now. If there is anyone who says that she or he has never heard of HIV, he or she has never been in Afar. Unless he or she came from Djibouti or other place, everyone has heard about HIV. Working in committees against HIV is part of the awareness on HIV/AIDS. Many things have been done through HAPCO. The first participant who represented HIV/AIDS Prevention and Control Office, HAPCO, started his opinion by explaining the significance of the study. Then he went on explaining that many activities have been done through HAPCO, but that doesn't mean that all those who have heard about HIV have developed awareness. As indicated in the study, there may be some villages where there are people who have never heard of HIV/AIDS. But these villages might be those who are not accessed by HAPCO. Such loopholes should be addressed in the future. Convenient location had to be selected prior to delivering the training. The center at Tandaho Sugar Factory, which used to be preferable for related events in the past, was selected for the training. Dupti, just like other towns of the region, is a very hot place. Therefore, the meeting is said to take place outdoors in a shady place. The site was surrounded by green vegetation and set to a background by beautiful songs of birds, which added for the suitability of the meeting. The clan leaders and Kabale chairpersons of the targeted village were welcome to the place. The training was given by a nurse who works as ART officer at the Dupti hospital and has many years of experience. The training is conducted in Amharic and translation was made into Afar language. The content of the training includes basic information about HIV/AIDS, testing, declaring status, stigma and discrimination, antiretroviral therapy and antiretroviral drugs, positive living, condom and condom use, among others. At the end of the training, the trainees were interviewed to assess the awareness they gained on the contents of the education they were given and the means of teaching. The questions were what they learned from the training, the methods of the training, and their future plan. At the end, before their departure to their respective localities, the trainees were given responsibility to educate the community on what HIV/AIDS is, how it is transmitted, the use and importance of condom, and bringing about basic change in awareness. When the team arrived in every village for the education, it was accompanied by Afar music, which called everyone, men, women, children, and others from home and gathered them in the place where the education was to be given. Even their camels were also there. No other place to go while there is education on HIV/AIDS. No appointment, fetching water, or going to a market. The same thing happened in Eyelachew and Semintanya camp. It was learned that an average of 50 people have attended the education in each locality. When the participants took their seats, men and women took different sides as, according to their culture, men and women do not sit together. The health education and training expert gave them in-depth education, its characteristics, means of transmission, and related issues. Though the kids created more trouble, mothers also had their hands in it through private talks. Men were active participants while women came out more of as passive observers. Especially when issues like sexual intercourse, condom use and careful discarding as well as demonstration of condom use were raised, the women were very shy and had to cover their faces with their shawls. But there are some who made equal participation with men. The education in the 3 villages had similar contents and participation. The opinions and questions raised by some of the participants include the following. I have understood that HIV/AIDS is transmitted through unsafe sexual intercourse and sharing a traditional blade which is used to assist pregnant women to give birth. If HIV/AIDS is not transmitted by sleeping together, then how is it transmitted? Another man has denounced the passiveness of the women. He said their passiveness is the result of shyness and should not be held up in the future. Actually, most of the women have not shown active participation other than discussing in private talks. Since there could be blood and sweat contact on the bed where an HIV-positive person slept, does it not transmit HIV/AIDS? Most of the women who attended the meeting were trying to avoid watching the education on condom use demonstration, which they believed was a taboo. During that time, they had created havoc on the participants to the extent that an old man stood up and told them angrily to cool down. He then told them to give attention to the education being given by the woman and learn from her strengths to relieve themselves from shyness, fear and gossip. Another man has raised a rather astonishing idea that HIV/AIDS is transmitted by the stone which Afar men used to dry up their private parts after passing urine. Another man spoke with confidence that no one can contract HIV/AIDS by touching an HIV-positive blood unless he himself has a sore on his hand. One man said he is suspicious that HIV can be transmitted by having sexual intercourse with a woman who is HIV positive but has different blood type with him. After the 3 days education, questions were raised by going to the houses of those who participated on the training and what they learned, and what they think about and what they did after they attended the education.
ኮንዶም የተባለ ጥበቃ አለ ስትሉ HIV ደግሞ ከኮንዶም ጋር ነው የተባባሰው ምን ይሄን የተማረች ይሄ ውሳመትልህ ነው እኮ ወአቱ አማ ሐበርቲኝ ማይኮ ሆሪሳና ነው ሆሪሳና ነናማ ሐኮ በርሽኔ ማይ አማ ሐቶ ትይባህቴኒ ሄ ተውክ ሰምሐኒ እዚህ ለምን ማለት ከዚህ ለምን ማለት ከር ማለት በእድሜውን አላየኝ ይሶታውን አላየኝ ለቸው አስተምሩናል ሌላስ ብዙ ሰዓት ነው ቀጥ በሪሰካ ማንጎ ሰዓት በሪተልሱ ነው ይሄ ሳከሙ ስለ ኮንዶም ተመርቶ ሲሰጡኝ በእውነት እኔ ማዳመጥንም ትቸዋለሁ ምክንያቱም ስላልፈለኩት ደግሞ ከናንተ ማይቼ ስለማልቀበለው ትቸዋለሁ ትውርቱንም አላዳመጥኩም ሆን ቢያላዳመጥኩም سمو كاهرتين كوهنا عند السين والله هنا نجي قدركم وياك تبرتين هناك وياك تتريتركين كنا هون دبوتيت هنا يموتيت لمرايو جمرة سيتيا دغبو كترطركوኝና ሚያማት ከመሰለኝ እንኳን ኮንዶም አይደለም እና ለራስም ለግንኙነት አልመኛትም توسن ايرس كان دوت ايرس حتحتو قدح حتحتو تحت حديت كانوا يلي حتى هذا لك يلي لي منك فريم ما وندو يو حتى لي انا محتاسفان كنا በሽታ ደግሞ በማንኛውም መልክ በሽታውንም ሆነ እርግዝናውንም አላህ ከልከለከለው በስተቀር ኮንዶም
It's so unlikely that a one-time study, campaign and practice would be enough to halt the spread of HIV/AIDS and alleviate its impact as well as change the awareness of rural people. Relentless efforts, self-initiative, sustainable self-esteem, uninterrupted struggle, endurance, commitment and overall collaboration are pillars for success. This project also is one pillar that leads to success. It keeps on running until the final point of success.
It's challenging to work within the community. Sometimes it becomes because of the environment itself, the infrastructure. You have to go through the rough terrain. The people are living very far away from where the health facilities are located, so they have no way of accessing the HIV/AIDS information or any other kind of health information they require. So sometimes we feel we are the people who should take the information to them, and this becomes a bit challenging even to the members themselves because listening to the people is challenging. As I said, the organization is an organization of people living with HIV and AIDS. They are people who have come together. They use experiential approach within the community to deliver the information or to disseminate the information to the community as role models within the, as a way of giving out the information.
When you go to the community, how are you received? Are they happy to see you? Do they talk to you? Is there stigma? What happens when a bunch of HIV positive people show up in a Maasai community?
When we go to the community, it can be challenging, but this depends on sometimes depending on the level of information the community have on HIV. One, the stigma levels are a bit high, and the information they have about HIV, we came to realize is, and the name used for HIV in the Maasai community is of a disease that used to kill people long time ago. So most of the people will not relate HIV to the present HIV as we know. They will relate the HIV to what the Maasai term of the disease, Bitia, means to the disease they know, which used to kill people. So sometimes they know the disease had no cure. When you had the disease, you had to be kept off because people could not touch you because you could infect them. So those kind of original or initial information that people have is what we are trying to struggle with, to try to bring the true face of HIV as it is today. The people in the rural areas, one, I would say it's difficult. Sometimes the access to those services is not there. To some, it's not there at all, and to some, these services are on releases, on block releases, is occasional, is what I mean. Sometimes you have mobile clinics. Sometimes it comes once in a month. That is the time they will see a medical, they will